Hi, I'm Tom, and I'm going to take you behind the future.
Welcome to another episode of Behind the Future. I'm joined by the wonderful Sophie, my co-host. Sophie, tell us a bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Sophie-Kim. I'm a Year 12 student at Northfleet School for Girls studying law, politics and sports science.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us back on the podcast. It's lovely to have you here. And we have a wonderful guest with us today, one that has brought us sweet treats already. He's been bribing us. We have Tom. Tom, tell us a bit about yourself.
I'm Tom from... I founded Thomas Cookie Co. 11 years ago, almost to the day, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, and I make the best cookies, cookie cups, brookies that you've ever tasted.
I love that. The confidence. Thing is, the confidence is true.
It is.
I've tasted them, and there's nowhere else we buy cookies from, I can tell you that. So I'm going to hand over to you, Sophie, for the first question.
Hey, well, I think having a cookie business, it's not something you hear about all the time.
No.
I really want to know how you kind of got into this. So if you could tell us a bit about that.
I mean, I have always had a sweet tooth. There's no denying. I was the kid at Easter with a chocolate cupboard.
Love that.
You kind of have to have a sweet tooth to get into this sort of thing. And I used to work in all kinds of jobs, so I was kind of a little bit lost, like in the office, and I'd always go across to, pick up cookies from Sainsbury's. I literally used to work over the road from here and head down to that Sainsbury's and just pick up the cookies. I was thinking, this is so awful. But I just loved, I was always the one doing that sort of thing. And then I started baking them and bringing into the office, and over years and years and years, and then people kept saying, you should sell these, and I literally sort of why not? So just literally enjoyed cookies, loved baking, and thought instead of trying to do something forcing myself through a career that I wasn't really that interested in, I'm just going to do something that I enjoy. So basically how it started.
Love that.
Yeah.
And did you always want to be an entrepreneur though?
Yeah, I think I was kind of always destined to be an entrepreneur because I literally left school and I studied IT initially, actually, computers and everything, and going way back. And while I was waiting to join the Navy, and I was in the Navy, and grew up very quickly in the Navy, just learn a lot about life. But then when I came out, I was just worked in accounts, I worked in marketing, obviously with you in the gym, and all sorts of different things, and worked in all sorts of different places. And I just think the thing about being an entrepreneur and running your own business is it's the variety. And in a sort of a lot of jobs that I was in, you just kind of felt like you were doing the same thing too often, and I just got really bored and had to move on, and I always thought that was a negative. I always thought that was I had people in my ear saying you have to have a secure this, a secure that, and just do one thing and focus on that, and so I didn't realise that it was actually a huge benefit, because I learned so many different things at different areas, and realised I'm just going to run my own business and do all of these things and put everything into practice. And what I thought was a negative was actually a huge positive, and I realised this is what I was supposed to do.
That's super interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really interesting.
And I know that you said kind of your day-to-day, you wear all the hats. So what does that kind of look like for you on that day-to-day basis?
It's tough, because I'll come in for the day and think, right, today I'm going to do this, and then within 5-10 minutes there's something else that's cropped up, and it's kind of hard to sort of get real momentum on sort of one thing, because you do have so much to do, but at the same time it's kind of fun. When I look at when I'm going through a really tough time and I'm really sort of stressed and not feeling too great, and sometimes I've gone right, I'm just going to look for a job, I don't want to do this anymore, and then it's difficult. But then when I look back, I just find a huge sense of achievement, and I always think to myself, when I am going through tough times, when I'm getting overwhelmed, you're just going to get to the end of this little hurdle, and I'm going to look back and I'm going to be wow, what an achievement that was, and it always is. It's it's every day is different, and as difficult as it can seem at the time, like it does always work out and feel great. But there'd be times like, I'd say last Easter was probably the last time that I was like, we way undercooked for Broadstairs Food Festival. And I pretty much sold all the stock on the first day, and it was a 3-day show, and I didn't have anyone to call on back at the kitchen, so I literally had to finish the show, drove back from Broadstairs for like an hour, back into the kitchen, was making stock from scratch, and I was literally making and baking all night until sort of 3-4 o'clock in the morning, like an hour's sleep, and then back up to Broadstairs again to sell, and I did that for like 2 days, and I literally just like absolutely shattered. And at the time I was like, this is ridiculous, this is so stupid, like, what am I doing, like I can't do this, and but then at the end of it I was like, wow, like, you know,
look what I just did.
What an achievement.
Yeah,
you know, I don't know
achievement.
anyone that could have like done what I did, and you just feel like a superhuman. You just think like, yeah, I can tackle anything. You know?
Yeah.
So
I love that.
yeah,
I absolutely love that.
Yeah, and so obviously to me it sounds like you kind of managed the wearing all of the hats by just breaking it down into the small chunks, and I feel like that's such an important thing, that it's just like looking at it kind of day by day, like I just got to get through this bit, just got to get to this. So what kind of drives you to keep pushing, to just kind of keep that spirit alive, because we all need that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like when you do have your own brands, it's, you know, that really drives me, you know, and I do want to keep growing it. We've had like a number of hurdles over the last few years, and you know, like obviously COVID kicking off, and then, you know, things changing. We had a few sort of like issues, various different places, and like, you know, we're really gonna start start it growing again now. But yeah, no, it's yeah, it's just it's difficult to like explain, but yeah, just keep going, yeah.
And I guess when you started the business, did you consider all the bits you were going to have to do as an entrepreneur? Because there's one, like, you got to have the best cookie recipe in the world, and keep innovating on product, because actually part of your success is all the different kind of mashups and things that you do that draw people in, because they're like, oh, I don't want to just buy the same cookie again, I want to buy a different one this time. But then there's the digital side of it, which obviously, so a lot of our audience come to this to learn about digital careers. Well, you suddenly had to learn how to, whether it was build it yourself or find someone to build a website, to manage a website, to manage stock flow through that. Plus then also how else do I sell? Farmers markets, food festivals, got to get out there, I've got to be the face of the business as well as the one driving it. And initially that was completely on your own, I'm guessing, other than family support, I'm sure.
I mean, so I would say there's a few areas of the business that I enjoy more than others, and there are lots. But I mean, development is definitely the best bit. That's why I did it. You know, that's why I started it. I love the love of like making new stuff, like baking new flavors, coming up with new stuff. Taste testing,
the sweet tooth coming out.
Exactly.
I mean, if you need any taste testing help, I'm sure Sophie and I could come and help you.
No, absolutely. I get that offer a lot. To be honest, like the digital side of things was actually, you know, as I left school and went straight into IT, and it's part of the business that I enjoy a lot as well, because, you know, during COVID, pre-COVID, I didn't really do much online, and then that kind of like threw us into a new world very quickly. Fortunately, I had a website set up that could take orders, and we survived through that. You know, as things started changing again, I had to start learning more about sort of like digital marketing and advertising, and I kind of really small scale, but you know, I love like working on either ads or social content or like the website, and you know, some people enjoy playing computer games and stuff in the evening, like, and I enjoy working on my website. You know, it's fun. I can get lost in it as well for hours, and because I use a Shopify site, and you know, learning and doing things and wanting something to be a certain way, and then changing it and developing it, and then it coming what you wanted it to be. Like, huge achievement. It's good a feeling as sort of like when you sell out a show or a market or something like that, you know. So
what's your split of what you sell in person at events versus what you sell through the website, percentage wise?
Over the year it's probably 50-50,
okay,
to be honest. Because it's just obviously like online's every day, and the events can be sort of like massive, but you know, once a month or once every few months, a couple of times a month, maybe in a busier times. But yeah, averages out
about 50-50. Okay, so that's cool, and
that keeps us like, you know, like you know, smoothing along nicely, and then the events just top us up, and sort of when we got a big chocolate bill to pay.
And then we've got, I guess we're coming off the back of Valentine's Day, so you then also got your peak moments that I'm guessing, especially because your online content always gets me, so you're gonna have a new fan after today, following on like Insta, etc. Honestly, I just end up, I'm like drooling a little bit looking at the posts, which is what you're aiming for.
Absolutely,
I'm guessing.
Yeah, and we've stepped the game up on that, and it's like part of, you know, what I'm doing this year especially is just really trying to grow the team and stuff, and I've taken someone on to work on social media content, and you know, she's doing a really good job, and like sometimes I don't even know she's posted. I know that she's sort of like, you know, been in filming and stuff, and I'll be scrolling on social media, but oh that's my stuff, that's wicked. You know?
It's funny that as an entrepreneur, I get that. Like we've got a team obviously that manage all of our social stuff, and I'll get a family member saying, "Oh, I love what you posted today," and I'm like, I don't know what I posted.
My cousin the other day texted me going, "I love the new TikTok video," and I was like, "Oh, I did actually I filmed it like a few weeks ago, and I sent it all over, and I never know when it's going to come up." And I was like, "Oh yeah," and that was a cool video.
You have done some really fun ones actually recently.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a little bit now. Like, you know, this is the thing with like digital and social and stuff, isn't it? It's like, if you try and sell on social, like the algorithm just like stops you, and like you just can't go anywhere. So it's just like you just got to educate. And so we're trying to do more on sort of just making videos, that doing something. We had a video recently go viral, like it's from 1.2 million views now, and it was just literally making the s'mores, and there was we weren't selling anything on it or anything like that. And I mean, it did go viral in America, so it didn't work too well for our online sales, but it looks cool.
Damn it, that's a shame.
I know, we like 80, I think at 1.2 million views, only 4.5% of the UK, which is still like a good amount. Yeah. But I mean, loads of new US fans, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, you just can't really ship very well to the US.
I've had a few people asking, and I'm like, oh.
You could set up a US base.
It's all sort of like in like, this is the thing.
It's all ticking over, you can tell.
Entrepreneur's mind, and this is something that my social media person is helping with, because like I'm like, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. And she's like, right, okay, so I've got this big long list of things you want to do. You're going to break it down like month by month, and like, you know, just like try and get that in, and so
trying to control you a little bit,
and I need that. You know, I don't get anyone like helping me on that side of it, so I do go a little bit wild.
And I think we all kind of know how helpful AI and just tech in general can really be in businesses, just in day-to-day life. So how do you think that kind of media outreach and tech has helped you in your business? Yeah,
massively. I mean, you know, we wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for the sort of digital world, because like when the world went crazy in 2020 and all our events were just cancel, it was like, I was like, and then sales went on the website, and so like it completely switched, and now, so we obviously sort of got to a certain point where like doing online, we got really used to that, and then it changed again, but now we're doing, as we say, it's 50-50 now, whereas pre-COVID it was like 95% on stalls and like 5% online, barely anything coming through. And so I was running around like every single weekend, just like working 7 days a week, like without doubt. But now I'm like, you know, we're able to sort of like manage our time better, and you know, you can work on the website and work on social media at sort of any time of the day, whatever day you want. So like, you know, I like my brain suddenly, you know, when you say just going to sleep and your brain's like, I've got this idea, and it's like you can just sort of like work on that, like, and work when you're most efficient. Whereas like when you're running a shop or running a store or something like that, you know, if you're not like really, you know, I really want to do this right now, and you're forced to. Whereas like digital is very, like flow, you know, you can sort of do it whenever, really. So.
Well, on the event side, we went to an event last summer, really cool event. We'd done the event before, but it happened to be on like the hottest day of the summer last year, and we didn't want to be there, and the people that were visiting the event didn't want to be, like, no one, people were like coming over as though they wanted to talk to you, and you just look at each other going, we don't really want to talk to each other, like I've got sweat dripping off of me. So like that's the kind of thing you contend with. The events, obviously, on the flip side, and probably more often in the UK, it's chucking it down with rain. No one wants to come out to the lovely farmers market.
It's real hit and miss. That's why I love doing shows at the NEC in Birmingham, because it's just indoors. And Sunday you could hear the rain pounding on the roof, and I was surfing, busy, and it's like, it's great.
Love that.
You know, 4 or 5 events a year indoors, the rest are all outside.
That's tricky.
Not great for the UK weather.
No.
But I mean, you know, again, pre-COVID, we didn't have the option of selling our stock after the show, and now if I get back from an event and it's been dreadful, I will just pack the products up, packs of 3 or packs of 4, stick them on the website, email out to my mailing list, and sometimes I do that at the show as I'm packing up, and then by the time I've driven home, they're all sold out. So everything's gone, and we just need to pack it on and send it all on like the Monday and Tuesday. Great, so I can make extra. And people say like, it's like, I suppose you want to sell out, and I'm like, kind of not. I love having stock right to the end of the show, because if I do have any left, I'll just sell it online. And also people then will buy some fresh stuff online, like some of the stuff that we don't like isn't just on a leftover sale. So you're like, you know, and also, you know, when you sell to someone on a stall face to face, it's hard to capture data, you know, and you can't just, I'm selling really quickly. I can't have an iPad out and getting people's email addresses and stuff like that. But if you put a post out on social media and say we've got leftover stock they purchased, then like we capture the data and we can then email them again about, you know, more stock, more things, etc. So they become lifetime customers then, rather than sort of like once a year customers that like a lot of our store customers are. So
you could do some kind of prize draw though, that's like as they're buying, like if you want to fill your details in here this month, someone's going to win the pizza sized cookie or something. I don't know, just something a bit gimmicky.
There was a year that I took, in fact 2 years actually, I took these like giant cookie wedding cakes we make with me, and I was doing guess the weight of the cake, because they were so much heavier than they look. They're just solid cookie and buttercream. It's ridiculous. As a wedding cake, it's pretty epic.
I'd want it heated a little bit with a bit of ice cream on it though.
Yeah, well, we did a few last year, and the catering staff really enjoyed sort of taking it apart and serving it, and literally sort of like chopping up all these cookies, and we had a couple of orders in this year for obviously like wedding season, like during the summer and stuff. We're making them.
I love it.
And I make them. I don't spend as much time in the kitchen as I used to, because I'm working on like everything else in the business, trying to grow it now. And I've got a lady in the kitchen, Becky. She's incredible. She works so hard, and she sort of runs the day to day. And I come in when it's sort of like particularly busy, and you know, if I do need to do a later shift, I'll do a later shift, like running dough. And but when it comes to making the wedding cake, I just love making them. So much fun to make.
Just a quick note from me. We'd love you to hit the subscribe button. This helps us more than you might realise when it comes to growing this podcast, ensuring we can bring you the best guests possible. Thank you. Back to the episode. How well kept is the secret recipe? Is it?
Yeah, I mean, pretty well. I mean, you know, we have staff come in, and I'm not like, you know, obviously I wouldn't sort of like openly just give it out, because the recipe was like pretty basic, but it has developed over the years. Like after 11 years, like especially like the cookie cups, people, how do you bake that in the shape of a cup? And I was like, I actually don't really, I couldn't give you like a straight answer, because like it's just over years we've trial and error. And we got it wrong a lot.
You know? Well, I was listening to a podcast this morning that was talking about the KFC secret recipe, and actually like that is locked in a safe somewhere, and like literally you are not getting to that.
And it's funny, because like that's also like a massive marketing tool, isn't it? You know, and they're just literally like, it might not be, you know, and I should sort of like, you know, make a bigger deal of that. And like we are, like, again, one of the things that keeps popping in my brain is bake kits, because people keep asking like, you know, do you like do a bake kit or anything like that? And I'm like, well, yeah, why not? You know, so we could easily do like a bake your own cookie cup at home and do a little kit. And we started developing it like, you know, years ago, and just never did anything with it. And I think this year might be the year that we bring that out, especially during the summer, because you say like events are tough during the summer and like the heat and everything like that, and summer holidays, like things to do with the kids as well, and it's like you just like get bake kits going and like just kind of good marketing angle, isn't it?
Yeah.
So.
Another way for people to engage with your brand and to do it as a family as well, which gets everyone talking about the cookies.
And it's long shelf life products as well then, because one of the challenges of what we do is obviously the shelf life, which is good, and we have developed that over the years without using any sort of preservatives or additives or anything like that. It's all completely natural, but just sort of like adjusting the recipe a little bit to like eke out the shelf life, but it's still like, not long, and it would be good to have like stock of like a long shelf life product like a bake kit that we're selling as well, and it's a little bit less stressful.
Yeah. Love that. I feel like you thrive on the stress though.
Oh yeah.
Although in saying that as well, it does sound like you have a lot of freedom, and I know that you touched on it briefly earlier that you went to the Navy, was it?
Yeah.
How obviously I can imagine it's quite structured, going from such a kind of timetabled, regimented routine. How does it feel to kind of have that own freedom that you can kind of pick what you do, you decide how things go?
Well, it's a really good question, because after 11 years, like, it's just so natural to sort of not be the only place I have to be at a certain time is for an event to like set up. And I think I take that for granted now. I just like think back to when I had a job and just asking permission to go and do this, or if I'm a little bit late, like stressing in the morning and phoning in saying it's traffic or whatever, and I don't have to do that anymore. I don't even. And it only really occurs to me, and because I have much of a social life, because like my business is what like I do and the family and everything like that. But when I do like meet out with friends or anything like that, and they say sort of, I can't really get that day off work, and I was like, oh yeah, you got to apply for days off work. That's like mad. Like I don't have to. I just go and do what I want to go and do. And when people say like you've got the freedom of being an entrepreneur and running your own business and stuff, I'm just kind of like, freedom in a sense of like I don't have like to like get permission to do anything, but then I've got to pay all the bills. So I can't, like I have to work, like and then you have a different like things driving that regimen, and like making sure like everything gets done, because you have the incentive of growing your brand and growing a business, and you realise you don't need to be told when to turn up to work or anything like that. So
love that. Yeah, it's so true, isn't it? It's just a different motivation. It also doesn't really feel like work though, does it? Absolutely not. No. When people say like, oh, you've been working all night, or you've been working 7 days this week, and I was like, I haven't really worked. Yeah. It's like I enjoy what I do, and like when I go to work, I've got my unit in with the bakery downstairs and the office upstairs, and I love it there. It's just like it doesn't feel like going to work, which can be dangerous, because you don't have a sort of like to switch on, switch off. But sometimes my kids will come down and we've got toys in the office and they'll just play, and we can get stuff done, and so it definitely doesn't feel like work. It's probably the best part of it, to be honest. Do the kids make cookies?
Otis, my middle, he absolutely loves baking, and I love that so much. Zach, not really so much, the older one, and the other one's only 4 months, so
still time.
Still time. But a 4th birthday on Sunday for Otis, the middle, and I think I'm just going to get him a mixer for home, because we don't actually have a mixer at home, which is like mad. People can't like understand that. I was like, my unit is like 3 minutes down the road, and I have got like 4 mixers down there, so I don't need one at home. Like if I'm going to make something, I'd go to work and make it. He loves baking and making. He made me chocolate muffins when I was away working this weekend, and come back, he was so excited to show me. But I was like, wow. But they bake them without any case trays or anything, so they're just like flat muffins. It was so cute, and he was so proud of himself, and I was like, that's amazing. But, love it. I think we'll get into it. He's definitely got a sweet tooth like me. Otis, do you think they appreciate the business side of what you do? Because obviously I guess they're quite young, aren't they? But I wonder if they realise really what dad's out doing. Zach started saying this weird thing recently. He goes like, oh, Daddy, you're the boss at work, aren't you? I'm like, yeah, I suppose I am, yeah. He goes, you're not the boss at home. I'm like, no.
No chance of that.
I'm like, why are you saying that?
I love that.
But yeah, I think he's starting to understand that, like, you know, I do like run my own thing, and I suppose it doesn't really come until they start talking like careers of parents and stuff like that. And when he starts talking about that at school, about what daddy does, like makes cookies, it's like, I think the people probably, are you sure about that?
Yeah.
It's not
Is
really
that a job? Yeah, it is a job.
Yeah,
It is making a business.
Yeah, exactly. And but yeah, no, they definitely, I don't think they really appreciate, like, you know how like it's different.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I was just going to say, and kind of separately to that, you mentioned kind of feeling the fear and just doing it anyway.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was really interesting. Like, if you just wanted to kind of touch on that a bit more, and then maybe share, like, when was a time where you really felt the fear and you just said, I'm just going to do it anyway?
Yeah. I mean, you know, one of my favourite sort of quotes and saying is sort of like, on the other side of fear is the greatest things in life. And it's so true. Like, you just sort of like, you're afraid to sort of like take that step. But once you've taken it, you're like, oh, yes. You know, and it would have been like big things like taking on a unit, or like taking on like a member of staff, and or like buying a big bit of equipment. You know, it's like, you know, £6,000 pucking machine. I'm like, oh, can I do that? Like, it's like, you know, it's so stressful, and then you do it. And, you know, recently to taking on Hannah doing a social media, like I was so like nervous and like fearful of doing that. And like, don't get me wrong, like I've got like a big long list of fears that I've still got to overcome. Like I'm nowhere near there yet, and the next fear will be sort of like taking on like someone else, and taking on more staff. And, you know, one of the big things was like, you know, handing like all the production and everything over to like someone else, like, you know, because you think only I can make my products as good as I make them, but then you realise that once you actually do hand that over, it's sort of like, oh yeah, no, I'm not the greatest baker. You know, sort of like, there are other people out there that like are actually pretty good at baking. Like Becky's like proven that to me loads of times, and she's amazing. And Abby's come along, and you know, having her in the kitchen as well, like just like making the products. And like sometimes I'll be out on the shows, and I'll literally be seeing a product like that they baked like for the first time, and I'm like, it looks so good, you know. And it's sort of like, so and I've been able to do other stuff, you know, while they've been baking. And you know, so yeah, you realise that these things I was afraid of were actually sort of amazing, like, you know. And it just like freed up everything, like to start really growing. So
it's hard though, isn't it? Because it could go wrong. Like you could hire the wrong person, or you
which
could
I've done,
which we've all done as an entrepreneur.
Exactly,
and that's why I think that also reinforces the fear. But then you have moments where it goes really well. Becky, Abby, Hannah, where you're like, no, come on. But it's a constant balancing act of you're going to try different things, and some will work and some won't.
And even the things that don't work are lessons, you know. You grow from it. Like I've had a few bad members of staff on like the little experience that I have had of that, and you know, I wouldn't have learned from it if I hadn't have done it. And you know, that in itself is really like good. That, you know, right, okay, so not going to look for that person anymore.
I now know what to look for, what to look out for, also how to handle that situation, and because it's never a nice place to be. It's really tricky, and it is your baby, the business, so all those steps are really hard when you kind of own it all. I
just think like every day is a lesson. Like I'm learning all the time, like, you know. It's just you never stop learning, and that's one of the great things about being an entrepreneur. It's like, it's different sort of learning, obviously, to being at college and uni and everything like that. But it's literally learning like as you're doing it, and you don't get a better lesson. Sometimes, like, you know, when the kids are sort of like, you know, don't jump on the sofa, don't jump off the sofa. Actually, do you know what? Just like, you know, you're not going to hurt yourself that much. But you know, you'll hurt yourself enough to learn. You know?
Well, it's all those little curveballs that come as you're running a business. I feel like I remember last year you putting some posts up around like the cost of ingredients going up. And until you run a business where that's something you even need to think about, most of us just think about that at home. You realise your shopping's gone up a little bit or whatever, but actually you've then got to look at, how do I reprice? How do I make sure I stay competitive? All these kind of big decisions that are kind of forced on you by market changes.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's when you look at sort of like the cost of ingredients, and you think, oh, it's only like 10p, 20p here, whatever. It's like when you look at that over the years, or like your ingredients bill from 1 year to the next year, it's like that's massive, you know. Like really, it really shows. But then you do have to adjust and change things in other ways. And you know, I used to have like 3 or 4 people working in the kitchen, and we used to have like a massive range of products. And you know, one of the things I thought, right, we just need to like simplify this, and we did, and we just like got it managed much better, and we just like needed like less people in the kitchen to make the same amount of stock, and now we can scale that back up again because we've got a more profitable system, and now we can just like add to it rather than like we were like not really profitable, and adding to that it's just going to make it less profitable. So you just like, you know, these things that get thrown your direction you got to learn about. Sometimes really helpful. Remember, I could have been going down the wrong path there for like many years, but because things changed, I had to change and adapt, and it's really helped me like look at things in a new way.
Love that.
And great.
And at the time, that will have felt really hard and really like, why is this happening to us? Like, oh, I've got to do this, etc. And then when you look back in hindsight, you're like, oh, that was brilliant. Like, it was hard at the time, but that's helped shape the future.
No, definitely. There's always moments like that where you just sort of like, oh, why, like, you know, I just, one of the big things I've learned, especially over the last sort of like 10 years, is like, you know, nothing's like the worst. It's like everything sort of like happens for a reason, and it really does, and you just learn from it, and you grow from it. You definitely grow. Like I've grown so much over the last few years, like some of the things that we've sort of been through and stuff. So you know, I genuinely, I've been doing this 11 years now, and like, like up and down. I mean, I'd say 11 years. The first 2 or 3 years weren't all that serious, you know, sort of like got really into it seriously sort of like a few years in, and I really started going and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. But like, I'm probably the most excited about that I've ever been. Like, you know, this year is going to be a really good one, and we're just like, we've learned so much, and we're ready to really sort of like, you know, push it, and you know, sort of how, like, the goal is household name, you know, it's always going to be a household name. But, I mean, the reviews we get on our products are just insane, like 5-star after 5-star, and people start seeing that and thinking like, that's fake. It was genuinely not. And I just like every single review that comes in, I read them all, and I'm like, oh yes, like goosebumps, like love it, just like so good, like when I get the reviews.
They are such good products, like
they really are.
You can tell the love and care that goes into them, and the craftsmanship of creating something beautiful and balanced, and just,
it was always my goal, you know. It was always sort of like I had to make the best product, and people like, people like, oh yeah, like everyone says that, but I genuinely mean it. Like I just sort of like, I'm obsessed with like, you know, the best possible thing, and when like someone on the store like, a few times this weekend, like people eating them going like, oh my god, give me 5 of them, like give me 5 more, and I'm like, yeah, sure, like good, aren't they? And they're like, that's honestly one of the best things I've had. I'm like, I know. It's good, isn't it? And it's like, I don't want to sound like, I don't want you to be cocky or anything, but like it's just the truth, you know. I love it so much.
I love that.
And I guess kind of like in a business like yours, there is so much change to adapt to, like you said, with COVID and everything, kind of having to find ways to adapt to that change. And I know that I kind of briefly said about AI, and I think in a lot of kind of creative industries, people kind of utilising that more. You know, like we had someone talking about kind of how he had only a few things in his cupboard, and he asked ChatGPT to make a recipe. How do you think you could utilise AI, or if you do, how do you kind of use that in your work?
Well, right now I use it just because, like, as we were saying about all that different hats, and the, you know, the muddled brain sometimes, like trying to think about what to do next. You know, I'll just be like, oh, what should I do? Like talking to chat, like what should I do? And it's like, right, well, what about events, and like blah blah blah, and it just like really starts me going and thinking, and I use it for like that side of things to sort of, because when you're like entrepreneur and like, a lot of time on my own, like it's great having Hannah in and working together with her, and obviously like, you know, Becky, like when like my kitchen Becky, when I'm working with her in the kitchen, and like, you know, but when I'm starting like you know, sitting there just like on a complete blank because I'm overwhelmed with the amount of things that I need to do, that's where it really sort of like comes to play for me. So yeah, that's where I use it.
It's like a virtual coach, isn't it? It can help you prioritize, and it's not got those emotional ties that we've got to feeling like, oh, I'm meant to do that, and that feels really important. It can just go, no, do you know what? If we bring this back down to what you said your objective was, this is what you should do first. Don't worry about those other things.
Yeah, definitely. And then like you just like throw every scenario and situation at it, and it would just sort of like break it down and you know, things you've talked about in the past that you've forgotten about. It's like, you'd mentioned this a little while ago, like, what about working on this? I'm like, oh yeah, actually that's
a really good idea.
And I can imagine.
Like, look at what sort of like what's the most sort of like important like big wins and stuff like that, and then you'd start, right, okay, cool, so I need to get sort of like 4 events booked for the next sort of 6 months. That's really important because they're big wins, and then we can start working on like the smaller level stuff. And that definitely helps. Like, you know, it's a great tool. Like, it's really good.
Have there been any real key moments in the kind of digital side of the business whereby, I don't know, there was something you did that suddenly meant you were reaching more customers online, or any, I suppose you got your 1.2 million posts, but obviously it hit more of the US. Are there any kind of big moments or lessons that you've had from the digital side? Yeah,
Facebook ads was a real game changer for us, and I spent a lot of time learning about how that works, and rather than just sort of like throwing money at it, I sort of really understood it, and I tend to do that. I obsess over things, and you know, I running ads as sort of like the COVID sales started dropping off, and I was like, right, we've not got events back yet though. It's like, we need to get them back up again. I was like, right, let's look at like how we can get those sales up. Now we know the website works, we know we can do online, we got the full systems going, let's like really push it. And I was getting some great results off it, and just realizing that content is number one. You know, you can be an absolute whiz with the back house of how it all works and everything, but if you're throwing money and targeting people with rubbish content, it's never going to work. So that's you know, big lessons. You know, you lose a bit of money learning that as well.
I suppose even just the photography of the cookies, because these days we've all got a camera in our pockets all the time, but whether you're good at using it or not and can get the kind of quality shots is another thing.
Definitely. I mean, you know, when people are walking past the store and they can see the product, like, you're buying with your eyes, but when you're trying to get that product like across on digital, it's a lot harder. And we make these brookie pies that I started making during COVID, like really big ones, like 300 odd grams or whatever, like 3 times the size of the cups that I brought in today. And we did that. I did that initially because I was like, right, this is like Instagrammable, you know, people are going to share it, and like, you know, it looks really big and everything. What I've realised is like it's really hard to get perception of how big they are on digital. And I mean, if I'm completely honest, this is kind of an exclusive. Like, we're actually going to stop making the brookie pies, like the big ones. Like, we're just going to stick to the cups, because I'm getting something else I've realised with our product, our type of product as well, is like it's a massively gifting product. So I'm getting some packaging designed at the moment that literally fits 6 cups in. And another thing is, like, we've got like cookies, s'mores, cups, brookie pies, giant cookies, everything, and I feel like we're constantly trying to make squares fit into circles and vice versa, and so like I'm just stripping it right back. Like I'm just like literally like, it's kind of a scare. This is another fear, like overcoming this, because like, you know, people love brookie pies, people love the giant size cookies, and I looked at the stats over the last sort of year or two, the massive giant 1.5 kg cookies we make for like birthdays and stuff like that have contributed to 4% of our sales in the last year. So why have I got them on the website? Just sack them off, you know. It's like it's the 80-20 rule, isn't it? Like 80% of your sales come from 20% of your stock. So we're really going to sort of nail that down now. But
then also on the behavioural science side, you can do a bit of the Starbucks kind of pumpkin spiced latte and just bring things back every now and then. So it's almost like you could do, especially for old customers that will have known the brookie pies, it might be that later in the year you go, do you know what, for one weekend and one weekend only, you can buy brookie pies. We've got 100 of them to sell. Actually that will drive people to go, oh, I want to get one of those. I love those. And they're off. But then you don't have to constantly be doing them.
No.
So it's almost using them in a special way.
Yeah, and we're going to try and do that with the flavours as well. Like we're going to have the core range that we always sell and people know, and then sort of like, you know, it's like McDonald's as well. They do it, don't they? They have like the ones you always know, but then every so often they bring back like the big cheese stack or whatever like that, and so yeah, I'm going to try and work it more that way. And again, this is lessons that I've learned over the years. We had like 180 SKU codes on the website. It's like, we're like, you know, we only sell cookies and there's only a few of us making these, you know. It's like crazy to have that many different product variations on the website. So yeah, I'm stripping that right back, and we're going to focus more on the gifting and the boxing side of it, and you know, have like really nicely designed boxes that like fit the 6 cups or 12 cups, and just like that's like the thing that we do online.
And with nice messaging like thank you and get well soon, or like all the...
We're going to do on the inside of the box, life short, make it sweet. That's kind of like a tag that we use quite a lot, and with cardboard wraps that like you can either have like happy birthday or thank you or get well. And also brand them up as well. So we can do sort of like ones like branded boxes for like companies, for corporate side of things as well. So
get us booked on that.
Yeah.
You heard it here.
Yeah. So and like just more that side of things over the next year.
I think that's smart though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's smart but scary. You know, like
more smart than scary.
Yeah. It is, yeah. I'm like, I get stuck in my ways. I'm like, yeah, but the brookie pies are amazing. And Becky in the kitchen, I think she was very pleased when I've already taken the giant cookies down. I haven't said anything yet. I've just taken down. No one's asked for them, you know. And we're not doing them for Easter this year either. We're just going to focus. Again, I looked at the Easter sales last year, and I was like, again, they produced like 4 to 5% of the sales. So like, why don't we focus on like, you know, making lots like really good cups, and it was also like, again, this sort of like the cost thing, like that, making the giant ones to just completely throw off like, you know, the production for the day. We're like, it's a whole different thing to make, whereas like, you know, we can just like make more cups and make more brookies, and yeah, but Becky's like feedback already is like, yes, much like straightforward, and like we can turn out more orders like this as well.
So. Well, I suppose just oven space that take up so much room.
Well, it's like, you know, we're baking, and then suddenly we start tempering chocolate to make these. And I was like, why are we doing that? We're not chocolatiers, we're bakers, you know. So that's just like, you know, simplifying things, and then, you know, we can keep like, you know, our prices. I'm not putting our prices up this year. I'm gonna like hold them, even with the increase and stuff. But with things like that, we're sort of smartening up the way we do stuff, so we can keep them where they're. I was. The NEC, right, it just blew my mind. Like they had the cafe and the coffee shop like in the NEC. They had these little brownies for like £4.40 each. I was like, that's insane. Who's buying these? And turns out I met someone who bought them, and he was like saying they're awful. That's like, I couldn't eat it. I had to throw it in the bin. I'm so glad I found you, and like, you know, bought my stuff. And I'm like, you know, there's a certain point, and I really try to keep my prices as reasonable as possible, because I'm like, I've got like a poverty mindset, but I never had like that much money, and I always think to myself like what I would pay for it and like what I think is reasonable. So, you know, it's a difficult having that mindset sometimes when, you know, you've got these growing costs and stuff, and you're like, your margins are getting smaller and smaller, but it's like, no, but like, you know, with smaller margins, you just need to sell more, you know. And that's what we're going to do this year. We're going to sell more. We're not going to price prices up. We're going to sell more, you know, and do it that way. So
staring at a blank screen, trying to figure out what happens after school or college, university, apprenticeships, T-levels, it's a lot to take in. But what if you could speak directly to the people who are actually hiring? NAS Events brings you events like the National Apprenticeship Show, London School and College Leavers Show, and many more. They run the UK's top career events designed specifically for students aged 15 and up. These aren't just your boring careers fairs, we're talking interactive hands-on experiences where you can meet the country's biggest employers and top universities face to face. Whether you're looking for an entry-level role, a degree apprenticeship, or a pathway into higher education, this is a regional show near you. From London and Bristol to Scotland and Newcastle. The best part, it's completely free to attend. Don't just scroll through job descriptions, come and try out new skills, get expert advice, and find career paths that actually fit you. Ready to take the next step? Head over to nasevents.co.uk to find the nearest event and register for your free place today.
also encourage your audience to be advocates for you, like trying to get them. That's another thing you could put in the boxes, more things to encourage people to do the Instagram post, to do the TikTok video, like, and maybe you'd even have like a monthly TikTok video prize, like whoever does the best one, you're going to get whatever it is in the post delivered.
I suppose this is a good place to sort of like say something that me and Hannah have got planned in the next week or so. She's on holiday at the moment. She's coming back this week, and next week or the week after we're going to launch our sort of like, you know, cookie team. We haven't quite decided what we're going to call it yet. I suppose we could put that out as like sort of like, you know, what should we call this? But we're going to like get a group of 20 people. We're going to get everyone to apply, and they're going to be part of like the team essentially, and we're going to be able to like, we're going to send them products, and they're going to get products to make video content with, and, you know, taste testing, like all these different sort of like feedback people, so literally cookie tasters like you're saying about. And
where do I apply? I'm going to write an application now.
So no, and we want to be able to do that, because I think like, you know, getting that on ads as well is great, like, you know, because these people that we're going to select have got to like agree to be able to sort of like be on our social media and like push it out there, and like on TikTok and Instagram, and like just like use that side of the business, like that side of the digital world a lot better, because it's all right me going like, oh, this tastes amazing, but obviously, you know, I'm a little bit biased, but it's good to sort of like, you know, get real people in the real world like trying them out and stuff, and like, a little team of cookie tasters. So
I love that.
So I know that you said that obviously social media, you've kind of incorporated that more recently. I'm assuming that you didn't have someone kind of managing that from the very start. And you have got quite kind of a niche, it's quite a niche business really. So how did you kind of navigate kind of working through the algorithm to kind of push it out there?
Yeah, it's a really good question. The algorithm's like tough. Like obviously it's incredibly useful as well, but like sometimes I feel it's a bit disappointing with the algorithm, is if you put some negative news out, it goes really far, and if you put out like we did great, it doesn't go very far. And it's sort of like, and I don't want to be sort of like negative on social media. I want to try and keep it positive. I'm a very positive person. Like, yeah, we've had really tough times, but then I see these posts that are like, oh, thinking about closing the doors or something like that, and they got like thousands of shares and thousands of likes, and I could have put a post out like that, but I just don't, you know. I try and put a positive spin on everything, and it's like to my detriment, but it's just who I am.
You do come across really authentically though. So when you have like, because I can think of moments where I've seen posts where you've had a bad weekend, at an event, and you've got tons of leftover stock, but it feels like you've got a community behind you that absolutely then rally and are like there to support you. And I think that doesn't come through I don't know, I think that comes from the fact that you built the social. I mean, now you've got Hannah to support, and I think she's doing a great job from what I can see. But that foundation that you've built is going to lift everything up, because people they're in your corner. They've got you.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, we really want to like push event sales, and we started a franchise like 4 or 5 years ago, for like, no, more than that actually. It was before COVID. Kind of stopped it during COVID and going to restart again, and you know, I feel like you can't be too negative, because the thing is, you do want to like, you know, push the franchise, and in general it is positive, and you will make money over the year, like running event stores and stuff like that. But I mean, like, if you just sort of like, you know, whenever I posted, if the only time I was posting was sort of like, oh, it went badly, I got leftovers, etc., etc. So because it's not bad, like you know, the game fair, for example, last year, I had a bad show in respect, like it wasn't as good as last year because I had a bit of a rubbish pitch, but I still had a really good show. And it's like, it's really hard to sort of like say I had a really good weekend, but I've got lots of leftover stock. And that's what I try and sort of get across. I mean, the only time in recent years that we've really like used the sort of like been really real, like I never sort of like, you know, make up negative stuff, and like sometimes you sort of you know, I do it occasionally. If like, oh, yeah, this has happened, like we need to do this, and it's like be really real, not sort of like just sort of like negative. But like, yeah, Christmas 2024, we had 2 massive events on one weekend, and a storm closed the whole weekend down. We've never had a weekend shut down before. We've always gone to the show and traded, but the whole thing shut down. So I was back at the unit just working out how I'm going to sell this stock. I was like, right, I need to set up TikTok Live and do something like that. And but I put a post out on social media saying like our event's closed, the wind storms close it down. And then by the time I was like working through like doing everything and like just figuring out TikTok and like, you know, feeling really old and everything, and I went back to my Shopify and I was like, it's all sold out. I was like, what's going on there? And I went on to Instagram, and in like 2 hours, like hundreds of people had shared it, like hundreds of people had commented, like it's gone everywhere, and like the sales just went ridiculous, and we sold everything. And I was like, wow, that's nuts. You know, so like using the algorithm for that, like it's like, you know, has helped.
That just shows though what a community you do have behind the business,
Yeah.
and that. Yeah. And that's where like trying to tap into that more and more as you continue to grow, because you've got a group of advocates there. You've also got a group of cookie lovers that are very happy to buy goods to enjoy, and I think it's a huge testament to what you've achieved.
I think when like a lot of our business is repeat business, and like I don't do all that well of getting it out there. I end up like just serving the customers that we have. And the reason we get repeat business is because the product's good, you know, and it's that's like, you know, our biggest tool is the fact that we make a good product. It's like you get some companies that just aren't interested in repeat business. Well, they can't be because their product's rubbish, you know. And I'm like, you obviously like don't care about online sales or like getting more business or anything like that. Whereas I'm like, yeah, everything needs to, like, everyone needs to turn into a lifetime customer, because once they purchase, they love it. And we just got like a 5-star review on Trustpilot this morning. Someone saying, I've tried these. I'm like, I've tried so many online bakeries, and these are the best cookies I've ever had. Like I'm only ever buying from this guy now. I've like only found him online, and yeah, it's like, wow, like there's a new customer, and you know, they felt compelled to write. We haven't asked for a review. They just felt compelled that like they loved it that much. They wanted to just give me a 5-star review. So,
well, that's the thing. I feel like people are more likely to do reviews if they're really unhappy or if they're really, really happy. If you're like, oh, that was just okay, you're like, oh, I can't bother to do the review, etc. But you're either going to be really unhappy, which is not any of your customers. Therefore, it's all the really happy people. They're like, I want everyone to know, or they can eat them all because I want some left for me. Oh, I love it. What if you roll back to thinking you're kind of 16, 17, you're just finishing, you're just on your GCSEs, maybe doing A-levels, what do you wish you'd known about what was ahead for you, and how you could kind of help your mindset for what you wanted to go on to achieve?
I always say, and I always think, I wish I'd just done it earlier in life. Like, I wish I hadn't waited. I wish I hadn't like gone through the process of sort of like having loads of jobs that I didn't really enjoy didn't help, but at the same time, like I could have definitely started sooner. And you always think, oh, I'm waiting for that, I'm waiting for this moment, waiting for that moment, you know, this is, you know, got to try this out, got to do this. It's just like, just do it, you know.
But I guess, to play devil's advocate, do you think some of those jobs helped you with some of the skills that you've needed, and that's the kind of
they definitely did, you know, and but I think I just waited a little bit too long, you know, because I just kept going, like every job I ended up just in sales jobs, and I was going from like recruitment to recruitment, and it's like starting off like studying IT and then working accounts, like working in a bit of sales and marketing, and then like sales and then sales and then sales and then sales and sales. I wish like second or third sales job, like I'd like been like, right, it's obviously not what I'm doing. Like I want to do my own thing. And I should have taken that at that point. You know, and also like not be going through all these different things thinking like, oh, I'm going to be unemployable, oh, like, you know, my CV looks really bad, sort of like etc, which is what I'd kept getting told growing up, you know. And like, it's okay, you know, it's okay, you know, you will find your place, you will find your feet, and you don't need to find it right now, but like, yeah, just I was 28 when I really sort of like took the leap of faith. And yeah, I wish I'd sort of like, you know, with being in bakery and stuff like that, so it's a very female oriented like market as well. And like, you know, women said like, oh, I want to do a baking business. It was any friends or anything like that weren't really that supportive, and I always felt like, oh yeah, no, it's like, it's not really, I'm like, you know, a guy, and like, you know, it's not really my thing. It's like, just like, it doesn't matter, you know, sort of like, no matter what people are saying or thinking or anything, it just doesn't matter. You just got to do what you love, do what you want to do, and just enjoy it, and find the people that will support you.
Yeah.
You know, so,
100%. Any closing thoughts or questions?
No, I really resonate with what you said, like, especially just kind of do what you love, like, it's so important. Yeah, like, it's just really amazing that you found what you love. Yeah, it's really nice.
It's been amazing. A wild ride, and I'm excited for everything that's going to come.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I feel like it's exciting times ahead, and I've got loads of ideas in my head actually as well, so we should talk more. But just thank you so much for joining us. Honestly, I think the audience will have learnt loads about also that balance between a digital business and a business that happens out in the real world, and you're manufacturing and you're selling things out in the world, and actually both need to happen at the same time. So it's really, really interesting.
Everything needs that digital support, doesn't it? You know, it's sort of like you can't really survive without it. So
definitely,
it's very important.
Definitely, it's not really a vertical anymore; it's a horizontal that runs through everything. So, thank you so much for joining us. You've been brilliant, and thank you so much. You've been a wonderful co-host.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's been lovely having you back, Sophie, and thank you to our wonderful audience. I look forward to seeing you on a future episode of Behind the Future. That concludes another brilliant episode of Behind the Future. Thank you so much for listening. You can listen back to other episodes on YouTube or your podcast platform of choice. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, as that will help us to grow this podcast, ensuring we can get the best guests on here for you to learn from. You can also follow us on socials, linked in the show notes for exclusive content. See you on the next episode.